Good afternoon, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well during these difficult times. Thank you all for joining this webinar, which is organized by IBM and Veracities and is enabled by Ingram Micro. I would like to introduce the speakers for today's session, Mr. Ahmed Al Saeed from IBM and Mr. Satyajit Gariwal from Veracities. Please note that you will be on mute during this session. We will be open for questions at the end of the session. You all can paste your questions in the Q&A tab on your right-hand bottom corner, and it will be answered at the end. The topic for today is supporting citizens through COVID-19 using IBM Watson Assistant. Agenda for today's session is communication challenges in the face of COVID-19, IBM Watson for conversational AI. There will be few success stories shared by Ahmed. Then Watson Assistant for citizens, 90 days free trial. There would be solution demo given by Satyajit on Watson Assistant for citizens. And last but not the least, question and answer round. Over to you, Ahmed.
Yeah, thank you. Hi, good afternoon, everyone. So I'm Ahmed Al Sayed. I'm a chief data scientist at IBM. I'm based in Dubai. Thanks all for taking the time to join us today on this webinar. Hope you and your loved one are safe and healthy. Our focus on today's webinar with our partner Veracities is to talk about how AI can help providing citizens, customers, and employees with quick, accurate, and up-to-date information about COVID-19 in this global pandemic. Our agenda for today's webinar will start first by talking briefly about challenges that we are all facing accessing information, then present what IBM is offering in that space to address that challenges, and then go through some case studies, right, before I hand it over to our colleagues that will take you through a live demonstration for a Watson Assistant demo on COVID-19, which actually has been customized specifically for UAE. All right, so let's jump straight in. As of end of April, COVID-19 is affecting more than, let me jump to the slide. Yeah, so as of end of April, COVID-19 is affecting more than 196 countries around the globe. Citizens are looking for answers around symptoms, testing sites, current status of schools, transportation, and other public services. But it's not only about government providing citizens with COVID-19 answers, whether you're a business that now needs to enable remote work options and your IT desk is flooded with inquiries, or you need added support for your HR department, like asking questions about insurance, sick leave, and other company policies, right? So whether you're a bank even, or retailer, telco operator, and you're flooded with queries around when your store or branch is going to open, how can I get my delivery, how to modify an order or tariff plan, right? So the common thread of all these scenarios is access to information, which is reliable, accurate, and up-to-the-minute information. So right now, government agencies are receiving an influx of requests from people seeking for information for which they aren't equipped to handle, leaving both the companies and the people on both ends on the phone frustrated. So here we're talking about millions of requests per week. We're hearing, that people are spending 2-3 hours sometimes on a call just waiting to have an answer to simple questions. And customers are coming to us telling us they are receiving 3-4 times more calls and requests from normal times, right? So that's a huge increase of requests which they're not equipped to handle. And agencies are today reporting like 2 hours waiting time before a citizen can speak to a representative. And 40% of the cases, callers would drop off. So that's why today organizations around the globe are turning to IBM for support during this time. So let me talk to you about what IBM is offering in that space. So IBM have done a lot of contribution in the COVID-19 era. For example, we are working closely with NASA and other corporations in order to leverage our supercomputers in US for drug discovery and finding the best molecules to fight COVID-19. We're also using Watson in order to analyze all the county and region statistics provided on their websites in order to give up to the minutes and more granular information about the number of cases in different countries and different regions, but also at a very county level. On the Watson Assistant side, IBM has also decided to really contribute and help government, but also commercial organizations to fight and help and answer all the queries coming from the users. And so probably you've heard about this offering, Watson Assistant, that we're gonna talk about right now in the presentation. But just to tell you, on this offer today, IBM has decided to give out this offer for 90 days for free for all clients, for government and non-government clients. So you would have 90 days free access with unlimited capacity to IBM Watson Assistant, which is our virtual assistant capabilities, with voice integration, so speech to text, text to speech, and with Watson Discovery as well, in order to find information from knowledge bases. So we're going to talk about that. And then we also help you for free to do the initial setup and deployment of pre-trained intents. You will have 90 days free access to self-paced and instructor-led education to get you really up to speed and running. And also, only for government, they will have 90 days free access to Expert via Expert Connect tool that we have, right? So the Watson Assistant that we have today is actually the platform that we use for different industries. We using it for banking, for government, for retail, for really across all industries. But now we're talking about a Watson Assistant which has been customized specifically for COVID-19, with COVID-19 intents, answering questions around symptoms, around where can I get tested, around when will school will get open. All of this kind of like common question that government is receiving on hourly basis. Okay, and that assistant today is available in English, Spanish, and also Arabic is available on demand. And it's enhanced with trusted sources like CDC and even the UAE Ministry of Health to be able to find information and answers from these knowledge base available publicly to everyone. And that offer is exclusively for public cloud offering, knowing that IBM Watson Assistant is also available on private cloud as well, and we'll talk about that. So let's talk about IBM Watson Assistant, right? So IBM Watson Assistant today is being used for 3 key use cases. The first one is customer self-service, so assisting customers finding information and getting their job done, right, through a virtual assistant. This is the most common use case we're seeing, how we can really avail 24/7 virtual assistant for customers to do either kind of like FAQ kind of queries, but also transactional kind of queries, right? The second use case is agent assist. So once an agent receives a call from a customer, how we can assist the agent in order for him to answer the customer smartly in a better way, right? So how we can provide the agent with more contextual information around the customer, around his specific queries, right? And then we can really, in order to reduce the handling time. And the third use case, as you start having virtual assistant and as you have like queries coming to your call centers and you have a lot of calls with your IVR, you will have a lot of data, right? You have a lot of queries, questions and answers and logs available in your contact center. So how we can leverage all these data, analyze it in order to come up with some recommendation on how you can improve your current virtual assistant. All right. So all of these are covered under IBM Watson Assistant, and we will talk about these. So the offer that I mentioned is actually part of the more general platform called IBM Cloud Pak for Data. Right. So Watson Assistant that I've mentioned is actually part of the platform that today IBM is offering for data and AI. It's called IBM Cloud Pak for Data. So 3 key things I want to say about this platform. It's actually, first thing is a packaging of all the components that you would need for data and AI. So whether you want to do data governance, data science, machine learning, deep learning, you want to build a chatbot, you want to do reporting, dashboarding, right? Everything is available in one place. So it's all supported under one single unified platform. The second thing is that that platform is modular. So it means that you don't have to start by all the components. You can start by very small. Let's say you tell us you just want to start with Watson Assistant. That's fine, right? So we can start really small with one component, and then we can expand as you grow and as your business requirements grow with time. And third, that platform is deployable anywhere, right? So that platform today, thanks to the acquisition of Red Hat and OpenShift, we can take this platform, the same capabilities that you're going to see today for Watson Assistant, or later you'll see for data science or data governance. You can take them and deploy them anywhere you like. You want to deploy them on your private cloud, you want to deploy them on IBM Cloud, or you want to deploy them even on a third-party cloud, right? So we're not going to lock you in. So you can deploy them on Google Cloud, on Azure, AWS. It's really up to you, and we can align with your cloud strategy. So how does Watson Assistant works? So as an entry point, you have your user. User can be your customer, it can be your citizen, can be your employee, or even an agent, okay? Who can connect through Watson Assistant through multiple channels. You can connect through the phone, through a mobile app, through the web, through WhatsApp, through Facebook Messenger. We really are very flexible when it comes to the channels. So we can really integrate with multiple channels. And then once he connects the right channel to his preferred channel, the query will come first to what we call a dialog skill inside Watson Assistant. A dialog skill is basically a set of predefined intents and responses for the most common questions, right? So if you're a bank, you put here the most common questions around, for example, what is my current balance? When are the branches is open? All these kind of questions, you put them into your dialog skill, right? And you'll see that in the demo. And then, because you don't want to write everything into your dialog skill, you want somehow to expand to more kind of queries and use cases, but you don't want to write them all into dialog skill. What you can do is to connect Watson Assistant to your knowledge base through a search skill, right? So a search skill is basically what allow you to go and leverage all the documents, web pages. It can be PDF, it can be your SharePoint, it can be your FileNet, Salesforce, right? All this content available that you have, internal or external, and you want to leverage that in order to find answers from this knowledge base, you can do that through Watson as well. So first, you try to find the answer in the dialog. If you don't find the answer, then you will take it over to the search skill to try to find the answer in the knowledge base. And then if you cannot find the answer, then we can ensure seamless handover to the live agent who can pick up the call and really answer it in a very and answer it live, right? So all in all, for the end user, it will look as really very seamless experience. All what I care about is really ask my question, get my answer, regardless of where the answer is coming from. So IBM Watson Assistant today is really the leading virtual assistant and conversational AI platform today in the market. So you can go and check all the Gartner and Forrester reports on conversational AI. We're really the leaders in that field. And also you can go and see our positioning as well when it comes to Watson Discovery, which is our cognitive search engine component. So we are also leader in that field. So when it comes to really natural language understanding and AI for text, we're really very well positioned in the market. And also as well, you can see that we are really well positioned as well when it comes to data science, data governance, and all this, and all the components that you need to build your data and AI journey inside your organizations. And in terms of market share, you can see according to ITC, IBM as well is the number one, has the largest market share today in the market. So why we are leaders in that field? So a few things I wanted to mention. So first is that, and that's specific for Watson Assistant. First is that we have a platform with low or even zero code, right? So you can go and build a chatbot or virtual assistant or the phone with almost no code, right? So you can go and do the integration. You want to do FAQs kind of use cases. It was in a very user-friendly interface, more for the business. So you don't need to be an IT guy or you don't need to be technical to go build a chatbot. It's very easy and made really for everyone to get started really fast. And then it's we have AI for continuous learning. So we have very sophisticated AI capabilities behind the scenes. In order to first handle the different variation of text. So it's not like we are trying to match word to word or trying to match exact question to exact intent that we have. It's all AI based, where Watson would understand the different variation of text that's coming and trying to map it to the most similar intent that we have. And then it's also AI engine that improves over time. So once you start with certain accuracy, but then as you go and as you start having more and more intents and more questions coming to your chatbot, these data can be leveraged in order to continuously learn and keep on improving your current capabilities. And then we are very flexible when it comes to integration. We can really connect it to any channel, any backend system. So you can really you name it. So if you want to deploy your chatbot on WhatsApp, on Facebook Messenger, on Slack, on the web, on mobile, we are really extremely flexible when it comes to integration with channels or backend systems. And as well, you own the insight. So the data that you're gonna provide us for the virtual assistant, it's your data. So we're not gonna use it to improve our own algorithm. We're gonna use it to improve your own chatbot, right, to get you better results, but we're not going to use it to improve our product and use it for some other customers. So, and that's not the case for all the vendors, unfortunately. And then the last advantage is that it really goes where your data lives, right? So we're not going to lock you to a specific cloud platform. You want to deploy that on your private cloud. You want to deploy that on a public cloud, whether IBM or non-IBM. We are extremely flexible when it comes to deployment platform without any vendor lock-in. And IBM is not new in that space, right? So IBM has really very long history when it comes to machine learning and AI. And in fact, the word machine learning has been coined by Arthur Samuel, who was actually an IBMer in 1956, right? So you can check, that's interesting. Actually, in 1959, you can check that on Wikipedia. The word machine learning was coined by an IBMer who actually invented the checker program. And then we have seen machine learning and AI evolve a lot in the gaming cases, where we are really trying to put or establish certain milestone to beat, for example, the world chess champion Garry Kasparov in 1997. But then it really became interesting when AI stopped playing game and started to move toward natural language, because playing games is more structured data kind of problem, right? This is kind of like you have restructure and you need to take the best action or the best decision at a particular point. But now more and more we're seeing AI moving to the deep learning, to the natural language, to audios, right? And here, if you look at 2011, where IBM Watson has been used to win the Jeopardy game, again, the world champion in Jeopardy, 2011. And then more recently, in 2009, 2019, IBM Watson has been also leveraged for the IBM project Debater, and invite you to go see it on YouTube. They are really all broadcasted. And you can see that here you have a Watson machine being able to debate with a human around different topics. It can be economy, politics, different topics, and can really debate in a very intelligent manner. I really invite you to go see that on YouTube. It's quite interesting subject. So IBM Watson Assistant is actually have really very large footprint in the market. I think the largest footprint when it comes to production and live deployment across the globe. So we have really big names in the across all industries, like Vodafone, like Royal Bank of Scotland, like Deloitte, like we have KPMG and Woodside, right? So we have really shown that we can really deploy Watson Assistant at scale for different industries. So few use cases for specifically for this COVID-19. So as soon as we really announced this COVID-19 offering, which is like free access for 3 months for Watson Assistant, we had really a lot of, and specifically because it has been customized specifically for COVID-19, we had really a lot of interest across the globe from many organizations. So you can see here a few names which are accepted to be public references and who deployed Watson Assistant for COVID-19 cases. For example, you can see in Czech Republic, the Ministry of Health is using our agent and the name it Aneska to advise citizens about prevention, treatment, and other topics on coronavirus. And with that, only 10% of chats actually require now a live agent. And most used chatbot, right, is actually it can handle more than 80% of conversation automatically. So 80% of the load coming to the agent is now being taken care all automatically by Watson. In Georgia, the Children's Healthcare of Atlanta, actually they went live only in 18 hours, so less than 2 days, right? Even less than two working days, with this COVID-19 pediatric assessment tool, which actually walks parents through a series of questions and results in suggested next steps that a parent should take. Recommendation on next steps are made according to the healthcare system established protocols. We also have banks, so it's not only government. We also have commercial clients like banks, like TSB Bank in UK, where UK government actually issued a new financial assistance packages to help citizens, creating a huge surge in demand on the content channels of the bank. And conversely, the availability of agent to answer these questions was significantly impacted by sickness and self-isolation, knocking out like 1,000 staff within the first week. So today with that chatbot, actually you have 2,000 customers a day being helped, and you have, and it took us only like 3 days to go to production from the inception stage, only 3 days to go live, right? So that's really a few use cases where we applied our assistant specifically for this COVID-19 use cases, and it's shown that we can really respond very quickly. So have something deployed in a few days, but also have the user friendliness to allow you to update and evolve your assistant as you go, because we know it's all moving very fast, and you don't want to be dependent on any external vendor to go and change stuff, right? You want to have this complete freedom to change your assistant without, yourself, without being dependent on external parties. More locally in the region, so we have, and I think I will finish with that, we have Smart Dubai, and I invite you to go see it. It's an application called Rashid, which is actually a chatbot in Arabic and in English, developed on top of Watson Assistant, which is actually an aggregation of multiple chatbots. So here, when you see it, it looks like as one single chatbot. It's actually an aggregation of an assistant coming from DIWA, an assistant coming from Dubai Economic Development, and integration with Dubai Police, RTA. So as a citizen, I can ask a question about where can I pay my fine, how to open a business, how can I get my visa for my wife, and the assistant is smart enough then to go redirect my query to the right assistant, and then get me the answer. So I don't need to check in 4 or 5 different assistants. It's all put in one place and give me like one single entry to my questions. So we have we have Smart Dubai, Rashid, and also we can able to check like Mahbub, which is actually the RTA chatbot. Just go to rta.ae and you can see that another example, which is available for users to for all their transportation kind of questions. So that's it for me. Thanks for listening, and I think I'll hand it over to our colleagues that will take you for a live demonstration. Hello, Sneha?
Hello. Yes, Ahmed. Yes, Ahmed. I guess Satyajit is just starting to share his screen.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah.
So Sneha, can you reconfirm whether you people can see my screen?
Yes. Please take it ahead.
Okay. So thanks, Ayman. Thanks for beautifully explaining what is Watson Assistant and what are the different offerings by IBM. And hello, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. I am Mr. Satyajit Garewal, working in the data science team at Veracity. And I'm quite excited to demonstrate this session today. Before that, I would like to extend a warm welcome to all the audience present here. Despite of the tough situations present outside, thanks for being with us and watching patiently what we have to offer. Before diving into the today's demonstration, I would like to walk you through the agenda of today's demo and explain what are we gonna actually cover. So here I have divided the demonstration into 3 parts. In the first portion, I'll be looking at the usability and thereby the features of Watson Assistant. In the second part, I'll be talking about Watson Discovery and how it creates miracles when it gets integrated to Watson Assistant. And lastly, we are going to, as we have some technical geeks as an audience, we're going to see how easy it is to configure and what are the components of configuring Watson Assistant and how easy it is to deploy and implement Watson Assistant to your systems. Moving forward, I'll directly start with my demonstration, wherein in the first part, I'll be acting as an user who wants to gather some information about coronavirus and basically came to check how COVID Assistant can help him out. Here on the screen's bottom right corner, I see a Lifesaver logo, which is eagerly waiting to help me out. So I click on it, and on the chat home screen, I can see that it has pulled out all the required information required to initiate the conversation. I can also see it has prompting me with some options which are basically the services with which it can help. Now, what if I very naturally type where are the screening centers? Dubai. Assistant has intelligently detected that I am trying to inquire about the screening centers available near Dubai and has taken me to appropriate dialog flow. Carrying on, if I continue to interact, here with maps, I can easily locate the nearest screening centers. The screening centers or the hospitals which can help me in such situations. So on the map, which is developed by Google My Maps, you people can see how I'm able to find what are the screening centers near Dubai. If I would have made the choice Abu Dhabi, I would have it would have returned me the screening centers locations near Abu Dhabi. Now, what happens if I suddenly ask some different question like, do I need to take the corona test? Assistant has intelligently detected that I have digressed from my current flow and now I am trying to inquire about the symptoms and causes of coronavirus and thereby has started me responding accordingly. So I'll just keep on answering the questions like, no, I have not been in a contact with anyone with coronavirus. Yes, I lived in a shared accommodation. So assistant has answered me accordingly that it appears that you may be at a risk of COVID-19. Now, for instance, again, what if I ask about the testing centers again? Assistant will no more ask me to choose between the places as it already remembers my choice. So this is an inbuilt feature which is also known as digression, wherein I can switch my task and still get the same user experience as if I am talking to a real human agent. Carrying on, what if I input some unsure queries or maybe some incomplete sentences? For example, I just type grocery. In this case, the assistant, without taking any action on its own, tries to clarify his understanding and expects me to further elaborate my queries to keep the experience intact. So, even if I ask some incomplete question to the assistant, my assistant would be intelligent enough to answer and recognize still the intent and help me out. This is known as disambiguation, wherein people are, even if people are unsure about what they intend to ask or face any difficulty to phrase the sentences, the AI beneath the assistant can still prove customers with a better user experience. Now, what if I make some spelling mistakes or type very naturally into the assistant? For example, what is coronavirus? The autocorrect feature of the Watson Assistant can handle misspelled words or queries and still can provide to be a great help. Moving further, as we are all well equipped to the AI platforms and technical devices, we like to use AI products very naturally. In such cases, we only like to speak what we feel rather than type and enter all the minute details into the assistant. So, for instance, what if I say, are the shops open today? The assistant has an inbuilt capability to recognize voices and still responds to the queries, keeping the same seamless experience. The speech to text capability of the assistant has been a great help. Similarly, the fact which cannot be denied is the COVID-19 assistant is deployed to answer every user's coronavirus-based queries across UAE. And it's a very unrealistic expectation that everyone can query in English or just in one language. So what if I query the assistant in Arabic, considering it to be a regional language of UAE? So I just type is driving allowed in Arabic. Or maybe in Hindi, considering the guest from India. As we saw, the moment I change the language of my input, the machine learning behind the scenes identifies the language and the assistant starts responding me in the same language. Considering we all like to type very naturally as we continuously chat with our friends on social media, we usually don't change the keyboard, rather type very naturally in English. So, for example, what if I enter the Hindi sentence in English with the English keyboard? For example, corona virus क्या है? The deep learning technologies beneath are showing their results. The assistant was still able to capture the language and has kept the experience intact. Just as an add-on information, the assistant now supports more than 100 languages, which consist both regional and globally spoken languages. Now, after we have saw the intelligence of the assistant, let's see how actually Watson processes all the information and gives us the relevant results. On the screen's bottom left corner, we can see a Watson logo. This window is basically the brain of Watson, and we have printed the information as it has processed. So, I can see that as for my first question was, where are the screening centers? It has taken this to be an input and detected the language which was in English, and then processed the information, and it has mapped that information to a specific intent, which is screening locations with a specific confidence score. So the score can range between 0 and 1, and the inputs are mapped to the specific intent with a particular score. The greater the score, the more is Watson confident about addressing the queries. So how does actually Watson does it? The answer is, with the help of ML, that is machine learning, Watson is equipped with the features like natural language understanding, sentiment analysis, tone analyzer, and can map the queries to the intents it has been trained for. We'll be looking at this more into the configuration portion to understand it more clearly. And in the cases where I'm inputting my speech, or for example, the queries in different language, we can see that it is taking the input as an audio, and speech to text is able to translate that audio into the text, and Watson Assistant is able to still answer us with same seamless customer experience. Similarly, that is the case with different languages, wherein I can enter my query in any language I'm comfortable with. Still, the Watson Assistant can detect the language and give me the same seamless customer experience. Moving forward, what if I ask an assistant the questions which are not pre-configured or served as a service by the assistant? These questions can be typically an FAQ-based questions or any inquiry-based questions. So, for example, what if I ask, how does the virus spread? We are still able to give, assistant was still able to find out the answer. The assistant, being equipped with the cognitive search capability, can search the web, the databases, or unstructured documents to help me find the relevant information. Again, for example, what if I type, are the goods coming from China are safe? We can still get the same experience as it has prompted me with all the relevant information to my query. With smart document understanding and natural language processing, Watson Discovery gets really powerful when it gets integrated to Watson Assistant. Moving forward, as we are on the last part of my demonstration, I'll be quickly showing you how Watson Assistant follows a zero coding USP and how easy it is to configure and develop Watson Assistant. So I'll just pull out my screen from IBM Cloud's Watson Assistant service, wherein I have deployed this COVID skill. I think there is a with it. Just give me a moment. I'll go again to my IBM account.
Satyajit, if you think you have networking issue, I can show it from my side as well. I mean, that's an option up to you.
Yes, actually, Ahmed, I got logged off. So I think that session got ended, and that was the reason I was logged out. No problem. I'm again in. I can show it.
No worries. Perfect. Thank you.
So I've just selected the service of Watson Assistant and just I've launched it. As you can see, it's now pulling out my Watson Assistant screen, and I have created two assistants over here. So I'll just choose this with a dialog skill of COVID. Now, on the top left corner of the screen, you can see intents, entities, dialogues. These are the basic components of configuring Watson Assistant. Talking about intents, intents are nothing but the task you want your assistant to perform, where it has been trained with some examples and Watson Assistant does the further part. For example, we have intents like CDC info or the Corona info. So as soon as we can see that, as soon as I click on it, there is a name named intent name named Corona info, and we have some examples on which we have trained to answer it. So with natural language understanding, any query relevant to these many examples would be directly mapped to the Corona info intent, and it will give us the appropriate dialogue accordingly. Moving on, talking about entities, entities just take role into some complex dialogues. They can help us in collecting the relevant information while processing the dialogues. For example, when I chose my image to Dubai or Abu Dhabi, it gathered all the information required entered by the user and thus processes the dialogue flow. For the information set, entities can be of two different types, wherein user-defined entities or the system entities. System entities are nothing but the entities which are predefined by the Watson, which can be number, percentage, dates. So Watson can, on its own, independently can identify the date, the time, or the numbers, etc. Talking about dialogues, dialogues are just the messages which we want our assistant to respond with. For example, if I take what are the hours or what are the operational hours, I can see that we have configured with some conditions, and just by clicking it, we can see we are closed on this holiday, or we can similarly just set the dialog flow and Watson Assistant will respond accordingly. So for example, if I take a very normal dialog, for example, goodbye. What if I say bye from here? I can see that it has triggered the intent name goodbye and given us the first answer from it, so long. Similarly, if I keep on asking it bye, it will change the answers accordingly and keep the same seamless customer experience. Then comes the analytical parts. Analytics is somewhat out of the box given by Watson Assistant, which is just a simple reporting or analysis of what and how Watson Assistant is performing. So I can see that I have a total conversations of 1 and the average message per conversation was 7. I can also see there is a column named weak understanding, wherein I can see if there are any weak understandings, or if Watson was not able to address some queries imposed to it. We can just see the logs and improve it right away, so that if same queries come again into the assistant would be in a position to answer those queries very effectively. Then we have some basic analysis and dashboard graphs, like what were the total conversations and average message, then the total messages, etc. The best part of it is it gives us the values of top intents and entities, wherein I can identify which is the top intent, or which is the which questions are asked mostly to my assistant, so that I can build similar such questions and improve the customer experience just by viewing this page. Last but not the least, we have bunch of content catalog, wherein I can see all the skills with respect to different industry jargon. And just by adding a specific skill, we can make it industry specific. For example, if I just add customer care skill to my bot, I can make my assistant trained to customer care activities. So as we all saw the 3 portions of the demo, like I explained first what was Watson Assistant, and then how Watson Discovery helps to perform the cognitive search and can gather the information regardless where it has been stored. Watson Assistant can be a really powerful tool or a virtual assistant to help customers, citizens, and even agents. So thank you all for watching this demonstration, and over to you, Ahmed.
Thanks, Satyajit, for your really exciting demo. I hope it was useful for everyone on the call. I think we still have 5 or 10 minutes, so I'll leave it open for questions. So please feel free, if you have any questions, let us know.
Sure. So Ahmad, this is Roscoe here, and I will be taking up the questions from the Q&A section and positioning it for you as well as Satyajit to answer it for the benefit of the audience over here. We have one, and the first question is, can you elaborate a little more on how Watson Assistant can be deployed on-premise?
Sure. Okay, that's a great question. So Watson Assistant can be deployed on-premise through our Cloud Pak for Data offering. The Cloud Pak for Data offering is the package that runs actually on Red Hat OpenShift, and through Red Hat OpenShift, we can then deploy that on any platform we want, right? So any platform that can accept Red Hat, we can deploy that there. So it can be your private cloud, or it can be any other public cloud. So we have this flexibility to deploy it through really the Red Hat OpenShift, which is really at the core foundation of this platform for data. And Watson Assistant is just like a component or service that runs on platform for data.
Perfect. Wonderfully put. Thanks, Ahmed. So I think that really addresses the point that Watson is flexible to deploy either on-premise or on cloud. So if you are dealing with highly sensitive and confidential information, you have the private deployment option as well. The next question, guys, is Watson for COVID geography specific? So is it specific to any particular geography?
Okay, so the offers done by our IBM worldwide team was more global, and I would say is more for the US. But then it's an open platform. For example, here what Veracities have done really greatly is that they took this offer and customized that for UAE, and it took them a few days to do that, right? So it's an open platform where you can really take what we have for as a starting point, and then you can start customizing it for your specific needs. And the good news is that, as you saw in the demo, customizing really is extremely easy, right? So it's more for the business or somebody with minimum technical skills can really get started and do their own customizations. But you have some nice starting point, which is like more global / UAE version of the COVID-19, and then you can start from there.
Perfect. Thanks, Ahmed. So it seems that there's really a very quick time to value that can be derived using this deployment because it's very generic in nature and specifically to the question that was asked by our audience, it's not specific to any particular geography. The next question is, what if we do not want to use Watson beyond the 90-day trial? Or rather, what if we do want to use it beyond the 90-day trial?
So if you would like to keep using it after 90 days trial, so that's a commercial discussion that we need to have with your team to really assess the usage. Let's say so by month one or during the second month of the free usage, we will assess your consumption, how many users you have, how many calls, or how many API calls you are having on the platform. And based on that, if you wish to continue with us, then we will send you a more customized quotation based on your current consumption. But then if you you don't wish to continue, which is possible, then definitely it's your option. So it's not. So you don't have to commit on anything after 90 days. It's completely free for you. You can get started. If you like it, you continue, and we really hope that you continue. And if not, that's okay. All right. And we have the teams really being as well enabled to really make your journey easy and make your journey really smooth. So we can really support you during the 90 days, making sure you really leverage the best value out of this platform.
Perfect. Thanks, Ahmed, for beautifully explaining that social aspect of delivering this free trial to our customers. The next question is pertaining to the free trial itself. So is there a limit on the number of channels of communication that can be integrated with Watson? And if so, is there further any restriction on the number of or the volume of messages or chats or calls that can be handled using these multiple channels?
Okay, great question. So short answer is no. There is no limitation. So we are giving out this platform to Watson Assistant, Watson Discovery, and Watson Voice Agent, including speech to text, text to speech, for free 90 days with unlimited capacity. Right. So there's no limitation on terms of usage, and as well in terms of channels, we are really very flexible. So you can connect it to as many channels as you want. There's no limitation around that at all. So it's really up to you.
Perfect. Thanks, Ahmed. And I think this is the last one for now, unless we have further questions coming in from the audience. It is, does the COVID-19 assistant come with the search skill that was explained associated with IBM Watson Discovery?
Yeah, so the search skill inside Watson Assistant is basically a component inside Watson Assistant that allows us to integrate with Watson Discovery. Watson Discovery is another service, right? So if you look at it from a high level, so you have two different services: Watson Assistant for your virtual assistant, and then Watson Discovery for your insight engine or the search engine. All right, and these two can connect with each other through the search skill that has been demonstrated today in the demo. The search kit is a way to connect the assistant with your knowledge base in an easy way, so you don't have to write any piece of code. It just really a few clicks to connect your assistant to your knowledge base.
Perfect. All right. Thanks, Ahmed.
I don't think we had time to show the Watson discovery part, but hopefully we can plan another session where we can demonstrate that. It's a really very powerful service and application that we have to allow you really to ingest any kind of documents, any kind of web pages. It can be PDF, it can be semi-structured or completely unstructured to the platform, and the platform can analyze it, understand it, put some semantics on top to allow us to really do some intelligent question answering. So here we're not talking about a basic keyword search or match exactly the same word in the document. We're talking about semantic question answering system that can understand the content, in terms of who are the person there, who are the organization, what are we talking about, understand really the meaning of the document, right? And then try to give you the most relevant answer to your question.
Absolutely. Thanks, Ahmed. So from the wonderful presentation given by you and the beautiful demo given by Satyajit that really helped us put things into perspective, it seems like even then we have barely scratched the surface with the limitless possibilities that Watson offers to us. And having said that, I would like to close this particular webinar and thank our wonderful audience for being highly participative and highly active. We assure you there's more to come from IBM as well as Veracities, and we look forward to your participation in our next webinar. Thank you so much.